the May meeting of the Delaware County Juvenile Detention Board of Managers. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, or at least those that are in person. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Joining us virtually is a gaggle of board members to start, including myself, although I will be in person in about 20 minutes. If Sean, if you could just, for the public record, get a roll call of virtual folks confirming that they can be heard and can hear.
Sure. Dr. Monica Taylor. Can you see and hear us? Okay. Kelly Diaz, can you see and hear us?
Yes.
Excellent.
Sean, I am here. Sorry about that. I couldn't get off of mute. Sorry. I'm here. I can hear you.
Great. Carlton, can you see and hear us? Okay. Vice Chair Williams.
Yes, I can.
Excellent. And Ms. Townsend, can you hear us and see us?
Yes, I can hear you and see you.
Excellent. Did I miss anybody? I don't think so.
All right, excellent. Next order of business is just to announce that the board did have an executive session yesterday, per usual, to discuss matters associated with real estate and matters pertaining to security. And with that, we will move on to our first item, which is our first round of public comments. As usual, we have 2 rounds of public comments in our meetings. The first is specifically around any item that is on the agenda for today. And there would be a second round at the end of the meeting that can be pertaining to matters that are more generally about juvenile detention in Delaware County. If you have something in the public to raise today, please come to the mic. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less, and give your name and township to start your comments. And seeing as I can't really see the room, can someone just let me know if there are any
approaching the mic? Did you hear that, Kevin? There is no one approaching the mic.
Okay, great. Thanks, Elaine. Moving forward then, the next item would be an approval of the minutes from the April meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I move for approval of the minutes of the April 16th meeting.
I'll second.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Elaine. Any questions or comments on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. David, if you can give me an assist here, what is the next on our agenda for today?
Would be an update from our partners at probation. We have Chief DiMatteo on the line.
Fantastic. Director?
Good evening. Kirsten provided me with a report in advance and apologizes for not being able to be available this evening. There are 2 male juveniles in detention, one at Abraxas and one at George Junior Republic. There is 1 female direct file at SCI Muncie, and 2 male direct files, one at George Junior and one at Delaware County Jail.
Any questions for Director DiMatteo? Or comments?
No.
No.
All right, thank you. David, I believe the show is yours.
Thanks, Councilman. All right, good afternoon, board. Just a quick update. Today's presentation will be a combination of updating our group of where we are with our local census. Definitely kind of want to talk about our aspirational goals as it relates to programs, and take any questions that any of you may have. Uh, So as it relates to our weekly census, and again, to give some context, this information is as of May 16th of this year, was the last report we received from our partners over at Juvenile Probation. But our weekly census, average census is roughly 6 young people. If you look at that as compared to our annual analysis of last year in 2023, we averaged around 7 young people a week in detention. So the numbers are trending down slightly a bit. The highest weekly census that we saw this year thus far was 8 young people in detention. And that happened on 2 separate occasions, I believe one in February, one in April. And then 69%, roughly 7% of our census remains that very high level kid, which is, juvenile direct files. And that percentage is actually up a bit as you look at our annual average of last year, which was 61%. In 2024, the highest amount of juvenile direct files that we saw in detention was 5. That's 1 down from our year prior, which was 6. Again, if you look at the chart to the left, kind of depicts overall census and what percentage of our census is that juvenile direct file. So, we kind of remain in that very complex situation where very low numbers, but over 70% of our kids are what I consider the most complex young person who's in detention.
So David, the takeaway then is the numbers are trending on an overall basis downward, but the those that are the more serious charges are, increasingly like a higher percentage of the youth that are remaining in the sort of detention status according to the courts.
Correct. They remain the majority of our census. 70% of our census are that very high complex case. And if you look at our detailed numbers that we receive as it relates to our daily census, we received 14 reports this year thus far. And it kind of just on a weekly basis, it gives you an analysis of where we are. Again, both on 215 and 223, it's where our highest total census has been thus far. And I think it's worthy to note that, in March and in April, on 2 separate occasions, 100% of our census was that juvenile direct file. So lower numbers, but again, very complex situation where we're dealing with a higher risk young person locally. Jump back one. Again, on a weekly basis, I also track the gender of young people in detention. It's important to us as we're looking at our future potential solution, just making sure that we're right sizing it to gender specifically. So on our weekly census, we average about 77% males, 23% female. Again, if you look at where we ended last year, it was essentially a 60-40 split. So in terms of our female population, that's trending in the right direction, which is down from 39 to 23 thus far. Again, this is only as it relates to mid-year, May-ish. The highest amount of young men that we've seen in detention thus far has been 7. The highest amount that we saw last year was 8. So again, that's trending down a bit. Highest amount of young, those who identify as female, thus far has been 2. The highest that we saw last year was 4. So again, trending down in the right direction. The chart to the left kind of depicts that and what it looks like thus far. Blue would be your young men who have been detained, and your orange represents the female population. Again, on a weekly basis, I really track again our lack of secure resources as it relates to the impact that it has on us. So your chart to the right kind of just you see in blue, our total census at the time, and then in yellow, I track the numbers that our partners at Juvenile Probation send us in terms of when a young person scores for detention and we don't have the resource at the time. And I try to account for that, just making sure that in the future we have those resources. What would our actual need be? So again, 6 out of the 14 reports that we received thus far showed that there were times in which we had to turn kids away for the resource. In other words, 57% of the time we were able to provide the resource that we needed. Looking at that in a bit more detail as it relates to our secure care kind of needs summarized. As of today, like I stated, 6 out of the 14 reports stated, times in which our partners at probation didn't have the resource and the young person's after a person school for detention. If you look at our average weekly kind of turn away incidents, a little bit less than 1 on a weekly basis. The most incidents reported in 1 week were 2 incidents in which a young person scored for detention and we weren't able to provide that resource, and that happened on 2 separate occasions. Our highest weekly need thus far in 2024 has been 9 spaces. Last year, our highest need for the year was 15 spaces. So again, trending in the right direction. And our average weekly need for beds thus far has been about 7. Again, if you look at the chart to the right, kind of depicts some of those numbers. I talked about the 2 incidents in which we needed 9, and we had to turn young people away. Also, on 2 separate occasions when we turned away young people, you see one on the 5-2 report and one on the 5-16. Also, kind of want to give kudos to our partners at probation. Essentially, 92% of the time, we're able to supply the need when young people score for detention, and that's kudos to our folks who are making those calls and doing the work. So, I want to thank probation for that piece. I also kind of want to talk a bit about our aspirational programmatic goals. I think in times that we don't have detention, there are other areas that we're focusing on to kind of decrease or eliminate our need to be as reliant for secure care. We kind of broke it into 3 different areas in which we're hoping to focus on and bring more programs to the county. One would be school-based diversion and prevention. If you all remember, our community-based diversion report, 1/3 of our young people are coming from schools. We want to be able to provide resources. We're supporting local initiatives that are attempting to improve school courts. We're looking at trying to help schools increase their climate support staff. And we're also looking at prevention programs in which schools can identify young people who are potentially going around the wrong route before they have in contact with law enforcement. And hopefully we're able to contract programs to be able to do so. As it relates to middle piece, I am thankful that our community-based detention RFP was approved to move forward, and hopefully that would be posted in June or if not early July, and we can pilot the county's first CBDS community-based detention program to maybe suffice for some of the turnaways that we're seeing on the data that I presented earlier. We're also hopefully bringing before council our potential contract with the assessment center, moving on and building the county's assessment centers, local assessment centers for community diversion. And also, we're essentially looking at identifying nonprofits in the community who have space and enhancing their space and capacity to take on more pro-social activities and out-of-school programming for young people. And as it relates to reentry services, looking forward to working with our partners from workforce development to try to build out or expand what we currently have here in the county. I think it's also important to kind of correlate, our programmatic aspirational goals with the results that we saw, as it relates to our young people here in the county. As you see, there were a couple areas in which young people really wanted the county to invest in them: arts, music opportunities, mental health, behavioral health, mentoring. I think from this board's perspective, just want you always to cross-examine what we bring before you all with what young people are saying they locally need, just to make sure that we're checking, we're supplying those needs. I think from a more macro standpoint, go back one, our partners at the state level, they conducted their own surveys and, they interviewed youth families and community providers across the Commonwealth to really try to identify what the needs were for juvenile justice stakeholders. They highlighted some areas in which the interests kind of intersected to kind of highlight those: access to availability and community services on the system practitioner side, as well as mental health and suicide prevention. And then on the youth and family community side, their first priority was mental health, and their second was safe spaces for young people. So again, our young people locally are saying they need these things, and you're hearing across the Commonwealth. We're looking to try to align our programmatic goals with not only what folks need locally, but what the state across the board are kind of needing. We're also going to pursue, opportunities to fund these opportunities outside of our local general fund. When we looked at the plan that was presented to the governor in March of this year, I think their very first recommendation was a historic investment in upstream prevention and intervention, and they're calling for a $50 million potentially funding stream. Again, I think Delaware County is primed to position themselves to be competitive when this money is available, and we'll be pursuing this money when it's made available to the Commonwealth to try to fund some of our programmatic goals here. So just want to give some context in terms of where we are with detention and where we want to be in terms of prevention and diversion with the help of our local partners here. So I'll open up to any questions board members may have.
I'll start. I have a couple questions. One, I'd be really interested in seeing the RFP for the community based deterrence or diversion.
Yep.
Is that online or can you share it with us?
Well, we presented it before council, if you hopefully remember that piece, and
Was that in the packet, the actual RFP?
we had a summary of what it was, but I
Okay.
can send you directly, or I can send our board directly what the RFP is.
Yeah.
In its draft stages, it's currently with CYS and, being, going through their process to make sure that all the legal information is included.
So it's not final yet, or it is final now?
We've been approved
Okay.
to post. It hasn't been posted yet. It will be posted on PenBid, but we can get it to the board just so you all can
So
review.
whenever it gets
Correct.
posted. No, I mean, we don't need to see it before.
Okay,
That'd be great. I'd be interested in seeing
sure,
how it turned out.
sure.
And then has the facilities subcommittee of this board been meeting or have they met, and where is that? And
Yes, we recently had a meeting to discuss with Public Works, just where we are and how, where things potentially are moving. We plan to continue to meet, and, when we have an update, I'll make sure it's on the agenda and we're able to do so.
okay, can members that aren't on that subcommittee attend?
Well, I guess I would defer to our board's leadership in terms of, if that's allowable. I'm more than happy to add you to that group as long
Yeah,
as between
okay.
Kevin and Marie.
I'd
Yeah,
love.
I mean, for my part, absolutely. I don't see, it's not that it's an exclusionary subcommittee. It's just that it's to ensure that, in this lane that there is there's regular kind of progress.
Okay,
Agreed.
great.
Yeah,
That would
and
be
we
great.
plan to have an ongoing meeting moving forward. We have some things to work out with Public Works, and we're happy to update you with that
That's
piece
great.
as well.
I mean, and I can just listen in too.
Yeah,
I don't
sure.
need special updating.
Yep.
Okay, thanks. Those were my questions.
Any other questions from any board members? All right, thank you.
Kevin, the next thing is old business.
Okay. Any old business, and I'm actually getting to the parking lot, so you might lose me, but any old business from board members? Any new business? Hearing none. Is there anything else for today?
Comment is next.
Second round of public.
Yes, of course. Yep, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Can we just ask you to say your name and the township and to speak under 3 minutes, please?
Yeah, sure. So my name's John Robinson. I actually live in Chester County, but I work in Delaware County. And the organization I work for has a lot of prevention and diversionary programs that we work for. So I mean, if anyone wanted to have any further interest in that, I'd have to run things by my supervisor, but I'd be happy to talk more about that afterwards.
Great. And what are you
I work
representing?
at Child and Family Focus, specifically for the prevention education program.
Excellent. That's great.
So yeah, just if you have any questions, feel free to talk to me after.
Thank you. Thanks.
And look out for the RFP.
Yeah.
Is there any other public comment? Okay,
None more?
nope. Board member comment is next.
Is there any further board member comment?
It's cool.
I have none.
Or did you
None.
have none?
None.
I think we have no board comment. All right, I think the next thing on the agenda is adjourn. Would anybody like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
There he is. Aye.
Aye.
Kevin, you're just in time.